All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and I'm back. The wife and I are moved into our new house. We got our computer set up. We got everything set up more or less how we want it. Just working on projects and everything. But, well, yeah, I'll be back to uploading videos and all that other fun stuff now that I have a place to do so. Today's video came forward rather suddenly because Gina Bruno put out a post in the forums. That's pretty game-changing for a certain aspect of PvP. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about my point of view, the kind of nuances of it. And then I want to hear back from you guys because, yeah, it's been over a week. I've been posting videos intermittently for the last month and a half. And so, yeah, we're going to get back in the swing of things. So let's dive into the forum post. Hello, all. When Battlegrounds first launched, we initially saw some data and feedback showing a preference specifically towards the deathmatch game mode. With the recent removal of the option to choose a game mode when queuing for a battleground, we've now seen an uptick in players choosing to treat any game mode as deathmatch. In an effort to increase battleground population and interest, the solo and group queues will only offer the deathmatch game mode for a period of time. This change will occur during next week's maintenances on September 20th for PC Max Stadia and September 22nd on consoles. After we have a chance to digest some feedback and data from this experiment, we'll decide on what the next steps should be for battleground queue options and consider the best way to add other battleground game modes back in. Thanks for your continued interest and support. We're excited to hear what you think. So before we dive into this, as Gina said here, this is not permanent. So whether you're pro deathmatch all the time or you're pro flag mode, this is just a temporary thing. They're just testing some stuff. We're going to hear their feedback. It's not permanent. And so I wouldn't get too upset one way or another. But yeah, in 6 days on PC, this will be live for PC players. In 8 days, it will be live for console players. So overall, from my point of view, I like it. I used to play BGs. I used to only queue for TDM. When I play Battlegrounds, I mean, my definition of Battlegrounds is what it is. You battle in arenas, and TDM is just battling it out with other teams. And some game modes aren't that way. From my perspective, domination is this way, but domination benefits the group that fights the least. If you run around and you don't fight people, if you fight the least amount of people in a coordinated way, you will more often than not win at domination. And so, and it's just because there's too many flags. There's too many flags for domination. People run around, and I've had it happen. Like I remember when I first started playing Battlegrounds, when it first came live, and you're trying to get on the leaderboards, you're trying to get up the ranks, trying to get your name up there, and we're playing competitive, sweaty Battlegrounds, and we get into a domination game and we're winning pretty handily, and we get in this 4v4 fight with this other team, and obviously you're not going to run away from a fight, right? So we fight goes on for a good minute, and we ended up winning, and we looked at the scoreboard, and the other team ran around and they took all the flags. And so while we were fighting for that minute, they captured the lead, and then they had a commanding lead that they never gave up. And so that's just the way domination goes, and a lot of game modes are like that. And so I'm not the only person like this. There are a lot of players that want to battle in Battlegrounds, and some of the game modes need an overhaul. They need a rework. And if the game modes were a little bit better, they were a little bit more enjoyable, and they were more combative, and things were more contested, I don't think people would be treating every single game mode like deathmatch the way they currently do. And so I know some people get upset about this. If you go read this forum post, some people are upset in here, like, why are you rewarding people that are choosing not to play the objective? Well, it's because the objective of some of these games is to not PvP in a PvP area. That's what the objective is. And so it just doesn't make any sense. Plus, we used to have a deathmatch only queue. Now, this is where the nuance comes into play from my perspective. But we used to have deathmatch, and we used to have flag games. And so you could queue in for one or the other. But the difference was you could queue up solo or in a group. And a lot of solo players complained to ZeniMax about how it was not fun to queue up against 4-man premates. And it doesn't really matter how good you are or your non-pre-made group is. if you run across a 4-man coordinated group on comms, they're going to have a severe advantage over you. And it becomes not fun when you get to a certain level of MMR, and people would just prefer to be on an even playing field. That's why they switched to solo and group battlegrounds for that reason. So we had this the last 2 years. It was solo only battlegrounds, then it was solo and group. And so the nuance is I saw some people comment on my forum community posts about, hey, why don't we go back to that? And the problem, I think, is splitting up the population too much. If you do solo TDM, solo flag games, group TDM, group flag games, you're splitting the population too much. And so you have that issue where you want to make everybody happy, but at the same time, you need a population to make everybody happy. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. I will say, from my perspective, I do know there's a lot of people that like to play the objectives. They like to hop on objective specific type builds where they just sit and tank on flags and stuff. Like I got in a BG where we were doing Crazy King, and it was 2 Harbinger tanks with 2 healers. And it's like they couldn't kill anybody, but you couldn't knock them off a flag. There's no way you could knock them off a flag. And so that's what they wanted to do. That's how they were set up to build for it. And yeah, I can only imagine what it's like if you get 4 groups like that. Like, I don't know how that's fun personally, but it is what it is. You play how you want to play. But yeah, it's just, I think this is a good change to see. It's going to be interesting to see how much feedback you're going to get, because I saw it in the Discord. Obviously, this is a small portion of the community. It's not everybody. I'd love to hear feedback from you guys as well, but it got pretty good feedback from my Discord. It got pretty good feedback from my friends. Like, wow, I'll actually go back into Battlegrounds now to PvP now that it's a PvP arena. And so, yeah, obviously, it's only a few people compared to the overall population. I'd love to hear back from you guys. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about the flag games? What needs to be adjusted for those? What do you think about deathmatch? Personally, like I said, I like it. I'm here to fight, and win or lose, I'd rather fight people and lose than fight people and lose because the other group was not fighting people. That's just my perspective. So also wanted to quickly touch on this, but from a more macro perspective of the game, I think this already made sense to address. Like a lot of the game modes weren't very good. There's been times where I've gone into Battlegrounds to test a build, and people don't want to play the objectives. They just want to do TDM. They want to fight each other. And so there's a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, every match is TDM because that's what I want. And that's how they play it. And so if somebody wants to run a tank build and they want to sit on flags and play the objectives, the other people want to play TDM. So play how you want, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this, with that feedback. And the other thing is Cyrodiil, just as you guys know, it just doesn't work very well right now. They're working towards it. And fixing areas where PvP actually works makes a lot of sense. And Battlegrounds is one of those areas that works. And so I know I'm not sitting here saying I'm not a developer, saying I know more than developers when it comes to coding or anything like that, because I don't know how big of a process this is. I'm sure they would want to make more money. I'm sure that they want the game to work better so that they're getting less complaints. It's less stressful to go to work when you're getting less complaints. I'm sure they would love a fully functioning game, but they just can't make it work right now. And having that Band-Aid fix of, hey, this isn't working, but Battlegrounds does, and you have deathmatch so you can play this while we get this fixed. If they do that plus Imperial City, it's a nice, obviously Cyrodiil still needs to be fixed because that's the number one best place. Like, that's where everybody loves to PvP, and that's the main avenue of PvP. But it will alleviate some people's annoyance with not playing this game, or with playing this game. So instead of it being Cyrodiil or bust, it's okay, Cyrodiil's not working, but Imperial City's populated. Imperial City has its own campaign. Imperial City looks like a lot of fun. Or I can queue into Battlegrounds and I can just do TDM all day. I think those are good choices. It keeps kind of the community around. As we know, New World is around the corner. And yeah, ESO is going to have some competition with New World, I think. I really think that they're going to have some firm competition. And if they don't want to see a mass exodus of a big portion of their player base, they're going to have to make some of these adjustments and eventually fix PvP. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Obviously, I'd love to hear yours, so I'm going to end it here. Good to talk to you guys in the comments section. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.